Welcome to another edition of Richie on the Rocks. Today, I have someone who I'm very excited to have with us. This is Carlos Harris. Carlito, for those who don't know.
Instagram, Carlito32.
Hey, there we go. Shout out. So listen, today, just to have you know, we have something special because he doesn't drink. So in honor of that, I will drink for him. I'm drinking champagne, he's drinking sparkling cider. So we are going to dive right into it. So you have basically written, produced, directed a web series called what?
Triangle.
Yes. Season 1 is going on right now. You've got how many more episodes till the finale?
We have 3 more episodes. Episode 18 will be the last one of the season.
And tell them when it comes on.
It comes on every Thursday.
TGIT.
Yes, hashtag it. We all up in
so
there.
while you're getting your scandal on, you can also get your triangle on. So how did you come up with the name Triangle?
Actually, you know what? My friend Caesar, who directs and produces the
shout out to Caesar.
Caesar Williams, Ballroom Throwbacks. He had the idea. He came to me with the idea. We were on the phone one day last summer. He said, "You know what? I wanna do something different. I wanna do a web series." And with me having a writing background, I kind of threw myself out there. I said, well, you know, I write, I do a little something.
Okay.
So like, you know what? Okay, Lois, I trust you. So we sat down, and he had the original premise for a man who was in love with 2 different people.
Gotcha.
And from that, it just grew and grew and grew.
Okay. So listen, I was kind of late on catching up to it, but first of all, let me go back. I wanted to have you on the show not only because you were also doing this web series, also because you've been a huge supporter of mine in terms of, music and other things that I've kind of, embarked on. So I want to thank you for that.
No problem.
So it's cool to kind of have you here to help. I want to promote the series because I actually love it. When I started watching it, I just fell in love from the moment of the opening scenes of season 1. Check it out and you'll see what I mean. So listen, what's kind of been the biggest challenges in terms of I guess the whole getting started,
no experience. The biggest challenge has been just ongoing improvement. Okay. Because this was our first time, myself, the cast, Caesar. Except for the guy who plays Jabril Anderson, his name is Kenyon L. O'Brien. He was the only person who had previous acting experience. Okay. So everyone else was pretty much green. So I was green in terms of writing a full-scale script. Okay. So just that whole process, and we, took a few punches from people who had comments and stuff in the beginning, but that helped us though.
That's good.
That helped.
That's actually good, because that means that people are watching and they have to say something.
Yeah, and they had a lot to say. But, but think about it, with negativity or with critique, you have to kind of find the actual point of what they're saying. Okay. And you know what? My dialogue was sucking at the beginning. It wasn't as strong as it is now. Okay. Because I didn't have an idea of what it could become. Right. But the more we got into it, it just grew. And I'm like, wait a minute, we got something here. Okay. And I challenged myself, and Caesar challenged me too to really write and really develop these characters, because we didn't originally think to do 18 episodes. Right. I just want to be 8 to 10.
Really?
Yes.
So what led you guys to kind of carry the storyline through? Because it kind of sounds it's almost like a How to Get Away with Murder type thing, where it just kind of really takes off. Because I think they were only supposed to do 7 episodes, but it just kind of took off. So what made you decide to go further with the season? Because
we filmed early last summer. We started in July, literally the day before I was supposed to start my new job. So I was tired, but that's a whole other story. We started in July and we filmed it through September, and what we had so far, it was sea level. Okay. So Caesar was like, you know what, Carlos, write some more. We're going to extend everything. So him and I went to the drawing board and we just created more characters, more storylines. Right. And I'll tell you, I think episode 6 when Fallon comes in. Okay. That was originally the season finale. Can you imagine that being...
No.
See?
Not what I know now.
Yes.
I think episode 15?
Yes, 15 was last week, yeah.
Yeah, at this point, it's she's such an integral part
yes,
of
yes.
the show without giving away too much.
Yeah.
You know, and she's a beast when it comes to like
Christina Porter.
just
She reads with the best of them.
steamrolling through a scene. It is like kind of crazy. I'm like, okay.
She's never done it before. She's a natural.
Really?
Never.
She's never done it before.
Ever. But she had a lot of gay friends, so that's why her timing is like her timing
It
is
is
like
definitely on point.
You can't.
So my next question is, you know, what has been the casting process? Like, what's that like?
Well, it was fairly easy. We put out a casting call on Facebook and I think Instagram. The people who auditioned pretty much knew each other socially.
Okay.
The only person that was outside of that circle was Ryan Cross, who plays Ashton. He was actually an intern at my old job. And one day he hit me up. He's like, "I'm going to audition." I'm like, "Sure." You know? And his part was originally called, I think his original name was Ashley or something.
Okay.
So he's supposed to be a girl, but it kind of worked that, you know, Ashley morphed into Ashton and the affair and all that.
So did that storyline kind of come about later? Or
it came about like as I was kind of fleshing out his role. It kind of morphed into.
You know, I really like his character.
Uh-huh.
I actually really like his character a lot because he is almost kind of like a voice of reason, which I didn't realize it until much later. I mean, but like throughout the show, even though he has his own thing going on, his own trouble. I mean, like seriously, you gotta watch the show just to see what I'm talking about. But I really, I do like his character a lot.
Yeah,
and he's very natural.
There is
everything that he says. I just feel like he would have said it anyway.
But you know what's funny? The more I write and the more I see them develop and flourish in front of the camera, I kind of, like when I'm writing sometimes I hear their voice. Like writing is much easier for them now because we've been doing this for almost a year.
Gotcha.
So it's just more fluid.
Okay.
If you notice from episode 1 to now, everything's more fluid.
Yeah.
You know, it's not so forced and, you know.
Was there a character that was probably the most difficult to write for? Or is?
I would say I enjoy writing for Jabril because that's difficult. Somebody like Filing is easy. It's a bunch of reads and, you know, snappy comebacks. That's easy. But for a complex character such as Jabril Anderson, the main character played by Kenyon, you have to really justify your actions and not come across being an asshole because he cheated on his boyfriend with this other guy and this seemingly thought it was not anything wrong with it.
My thought was, especially as time went on, like as you get deeper into the season, he's actually become one of my favorite characters because you see this whole complex relationship that he has with his family, his, you know, I guess his ex, or you know, we don't know what that's gonna be, you know, but you have these dynamic relationships, and even though he's done something horrible at the start of the season, I found myself really sympathizing with his character as time goes on.
Because you start to find out why. When people do things as adults, especially when they're in relationships, looking for love, or they cheat, there's always something dealing with how they grew up or childhood as to why they just were greedy and cheated and wanted more. So as the season went on, you kind of learn more about him and then his connection to somebody else on the canvas. And you really kind of see why he did the things he did.
Right.
Because as you see 15, something came out and he ended up choking somebody. So
that was a shock.
Yeah, but it was out of anger. He grew up his whole life thinking, trying to fill this void, you know, that somebody did to him as a kid. And he went on through life trying to find love.
It'll be interesting to kind of see where that goes. Also, another character that I feel like is kind of like that, very similar, is Rob.
Rob is, yes.
Very similar.
Yes.
Like, in terms
I
of...
love him.
Listen. I'm not going to say anything else. All I will say is Rob is definitely one to watch on the show.
Played by Thomas Mackie, who does a great job.
He is awesome. But I love the complexities of his character as well, because I think, you know, before we just kind of saw him doing all of these different things, and we couldn't really get an idea as to what his motivation was. And then I feel like in this past episode, we really found out, okay, so this is, there is his story. Even though you sense there was one, because I feel like he does a good job of conveying of getting, I guess, sympathy from
He does a great job.
even though he does some of the things that he does.
Yes.
You know, it doesn't make me feel like, oh, I can't stand him.
And that's a testament to Thomas, who plays Rob. The audience loved him from the gate. And I was like, wait, but he's the one that set up everything. I'm like...
Listen, he
was literally like, no, you gonna do this, and you gonna hold up and do this. But as you can see, he used his aesthetics to always get what he wants. And it worked. But there's always a reason to why he goes through life doing that. In episode 15, you found out. But there's still more.
So are any of these situations kind of like based on any life experiences that you've had?
We've all been in a triangle. I'll say that. In one fashion or another.
This is probably true.
Yes. So, but other than that, I'll say this. Each character is a piece of me.
Okay.
You know, I won't pinpoint exactly who and what, but I put a little of myself into each person. Like, they'll say something that I've said in the past, or like Fallon. She says what we can't say, what we're thinking. Right. You know?
Yeah, she says a lot.
Yes, so I would say they all are a piece of me in some form or fashion.
Okay, so at what point because another one of my favorite characters is Kiko. How did that come about?
Kiko originally auditioned for the role of Ashley, which turned into Ashton. Gotcha. And her audition was so great. She had like a mock fashion studio and an actual full camera set, camera crew. We were all impressed, but we felt that she wasn't, fit for that role. Gotcha. But I contacted her and said, we're going to use you. We're thinking in the next series, we ended up using her for this, and she kind of just flourished. She only wanted to be a supporting character that kind of just stayed in the salon, but she don't. She does
not stay in the salon.
She stayed in the business.
Because she kind of really becomes an integral part in a lot of stories, and how a lot of stories kind of converge, as we see in
like a soap opera.
It does. Very much so.
Triangle has morphed into a straight up old school, all my children, one life to live, guiding light.
And I love it.
We turned to
I do. Listen, I was literally sitting there last Thursday, waiting, okay, when is this coming? When is it coming?
Yeah, I don't even see ourselves, granted we're on YouTube, but I don't see ourselves in that context of a web series, because how the writing is, how each character is so layered and have their own story. But they kind of overlap sometimes, but pretty much it all makes sense. Okay. No one's writing us saying, this doesn't make sense. Everyone knows each other. It just woven into the fabric of the story.
So how has it been having a web series in general? What's the reaction been like from, I guess, the good to the bad?
Well, in the beginning, we got good feedback from online, social media. We had a write-up on Sandra Rose, what's Funky Daniva's best friend? I forgot her name. Atlanta. I forgot. She's gonna kill me. But anyway, we had 2 write-ups on social media.
We posted a link in the site. After the video.
Andy Cohen hit me up on Twitter, which was
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What?
He saw the original poster, which was Brandon, Jarrell, and Derek in the bed. You saw that?
Yeah, I saw that.
That was an eye opener. Just Cheryl Underwood, she's retweeted an episode last week. So it's been good, and just from the LGBT, community, especially of color, because I don't think we are represented enough. And if we are, it's always a stereotype, holding bags and stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that, it's just, there's more to us than playing somebody's sidekick.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. No. So I think that's the thing that I appreciate when we hear feedback to say that thank you for showing, Black LGBT men and women, in a good light.
Right. So how did you get involved with Ballroom Throwbacks? Because that's kind of like I don't want to say network, but kind of is that the show is featured on. So how did that come about?
Caesar is a friend of mine, and he's a documentary for the ballroom culture. He's traveled all over. He's known literally all over the world. He's been doing that for A long time now, and that's pretty much his company. So he's grew that from the ground up.
Wow.
Yeah, so we have him to thank, his viewers and people who follow him to some of Triangle's success, because they were the ones that supported us. Because it aired on his page first, and then it would air on Triangle's page.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so he's pretty much the man with the plan.
Nice. Shout out to Caesar.
Hello.
So, okay, where do you see this series going? Like, where do you want to take it next?
Well, we're already talking storylines for season 2.
Okay.
I ain't gonna tell you too much, but everyone, I'm not gonna say that. Yeah, season 2 would definitely happen. We'll start filming in the fall.
Okay.
It'll be a lot of more scandals, trust me.
Really?
Yes. Caesar is very creative. Like, he'll call me or he'll FaceTime me when I'm leaving school or I'm at my desk. He's like, okay, I have an idea. Da-da-da-da. And I'm like, dude, where do you find all these ideas? But they good and they all work. They all work.
I always wonder how would you have thought to have this kind of these two people connect? Like there's a family connection that I just would not have seen coming. Was that planned all along, or did that just kind of happen organically, in the writing of things?
That wasn't planned. When Fallon came along, and she was so from the energy that she kind of brought to the series. I was like, we loved it, but at the end of the day, this was about Jabril Anderson and his journey, his discovery. And we said, you know what? Let's have them be related, and I had to go back and write it so a way to have it make sense and not be like, what are these two people? Like, that wouldn't make sense, because without great writing, that whole storyline would fall apart.
Right.
But nobody second guessed it.
It really makes sense, and I really wasn't going to tell y'all who it was, but it makes sense, and I love their interaction.
And they know each other in real life.
They do.
For years.
Okay,
yes.
so that kind of they really play off of each other easily.
Yes, Kenyon suggested Christina for the role.
Okay.
So it was perfect.
Nice.
So that's why their chemistry is so effortless, because they know each other.
Another, two set of people who have really great chemistry on the show is
Derek and Rob.
Yes. Yes. Listen.
That's a fan favorite. Honestly, they weren't supposed to be together for that long, but the fans just reacted, and they're like Luke and Laura.
Okay, like Olivia and Fitz. I want them to get together, but then I kind of don't, because I want to see it. I want to see the back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Because it's cool when they don't get along, and then when they do, it's hot.
Trust me, they surprised me. It surprised even people that are playing them. Because shout out to Emery Johnson, who plays Derek. The audience loves them. They love them together, which was surprised the hell out of me, because I thought that they would, like I said, hey Rob, and that was.
It's funny because I feel like in television we rarely hate the villains. If they're written well, we hate what they're doing, but if the writer can make us sympathetic with them, it's almost like you fall in love with them even more than the heroes.
And like I said, it's a marriage between the writing and the acting too. And another thing that kind of surprised me in the beginning was we got a lot of feedback from not only how Thomas looked, who plays Rob, but the fact that we had a dark-skinned man on there. He wasn't, a thief. He was shown in a light of he was desirable. And it kind of literally, I didn't even think about that, but that kind of made me think wow, where are the, chocolate, dark-skinned men on web series, on TV, that's shown in a good light. Granted, his character isn't a classic good guy, but
I think it's something to be said about showing people who are beautifully flawed. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's where people really relate the most.
Yeah.
Because we're all human at the end of the day. Yeah. And I feel like shout out to you for writing real human characters that people can relate to and want to see win in some capacity. I mean, we want to see him fail, but we want to see him win at the same time. Just because we like the drama.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about, guys or girls, hot bodies, people that we want to see on these web series, shout out to Thomas once again. Let's get to the segment that we call Thirst Trap of the Week. who do you want to list as your thirst trap of the week?
Well, ladies and gentlemen,
Dun, 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 dun.
there's only one person I follow on Instagram. He's an actual model, so he gets paid to take his clothes off. Not for free. Yeah, his name is Mason, Alexander Mason. I'm sorry. His Instagram name is Mason Alex. He's been in a few videos. He's from Canada. He's cool. Nice body, dreads.
Light skin guy with dreads?
Yeah.
I know you're talking about.
So yeah, he's the only person I follow on Instagram, you know, because everybody else is like, okay, you go to the gym, okay, you're naked. It's like,
Do you watch any other web series?
No, I've seen some of yours, Anacostia. I watched Boy Drama.
Shout out to Anacostia in the cast.
Hello. What else? I've seen a little bit of Freefall, but I purposely stayed away because I didn't want anything subconsciously to be reflective of what's already been out there.
Right.
So I solely stay in Triangles Lane, and like my inspiration comes from like Dynasty, Knots Landing, like those like iconic 80s soaps where people read.
Shout out to that.
Yes, they'll read you in a Bill Blass fur. So it's like, you know, it's more respectable when they can read you and they got on garments. You're
Right,
like,
right.
But that's the type of like grandeur I kind of, I don't say emulate, but I kind of seek for inspiration.
Right.
You know, I don't even, you know, those type of things.
Do you also still work with the blog?
JoJo Cruz, yes I do. Which is sometimes, like last night, I wrote a scene. I was like, okay, let me do something for the site. Yes, I do. Shout out to Joey. He's another person that came to me with the idea to do the website, and it's been what, a year and a half. This Labor Day this year would be 2 years.
So you are quite busy.
Yes, but it's all fun. This is something that I wanted to do. You know, I switched careers because I knew that writing is my passion, and I just, you know, talked to God one day and I said, you know what, if this is for me, you know, use me, let things happen. And literally the following week, Joey called, and then literally the following week, Caesar called. Like that.
Speak it into existence,
yes,
people. Speak it into existence.
Yes.
Talk about it. Get your thoughts out there. This is why I wanted to do this show again. I say this like every time I interview somebody, but like that's the reason why, because it just goes to show you that like if you have an idea, if you have the inspiration, like you need to do it.
Yeah, yes. And I'm big on support, especially with people of color, because we don't support each other enough.
Right.
We're so quick to read and tear down somebody's project. I'm like, but do you have the guts to do it yourself? You know, some people are so quick to critique something, but I'm like, would you get in front of the camera? Would you get in front of the stage? Would you display your artwork? You know, it's like it takes a lot of guts to do what we do.
It does.
Because a lot of people have opinions.
So, you know, I wouldn't read it. I don't think even when I was doing the Morning Wood show, I didn't read any negative comments. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't actually read the comments, to be very honest with you. I didn't read the comments, nor did I listen to what anybody else gave, any type of advice they gave. The only reason why is because I feel like if I have a vision, I'm going to stick to it. And I don't have the capacity to deal with anything negative. Yes. You know, and you have to kind of take in the feedback when you want to take it in and take it for what it is. Like, you kind of have to filter through it to take what you need out of it. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So,
but yeah, we need to support each other more. I think we need support because can you imagine how further some of us would be if we had support?
Further. Exactly. A lot further.
I think, you know, more support, less shade.
You heard it here first. So, what's next for you?
What is next for me? Season 2 is next. I'm in school. I graduate next year. Go to American University for public communications. So just focus on that. JoJo Cruz and Triangle. So yeah, I'm graduating. Hopefully, well, not hopefully. Someone will pick up this show.
Claim it.
They will, because I know it. Caesar knows it. We all know it because we have something special. Each of us has done something great, and just the feedback and just the energy, the synergy that we all feel we're together. Yeah, it's magic how it all came. Even with,
and I love the after show things that you do.
That's
so that is so cool because it does. They do a little segment after each, I guess more the later shows.
Yeah.
Where you get to kind of see them talk to some of the cast and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty dope as well.
Yeah. We're a family.
I like it. And you can definitely tell that from how you guys kind of talk to each other after, each episode. So I love that. You guys definitely have to check out Triangle, check out JoJo Cruz. I'll have links posted in the description. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate this. Shout out to the Triangle cast. Shout out to cameraman.
Hopefully we can get somebody on the show.
Of course. Well, who's local? Dominic Smith, who plays Brandon, he's local.
Okay.
We can get him. Kiko is local.
Okay.
Kiko Weinstock, who plays Kiko
Awesome.
Richardson. Who else? Shout out. Terrell, who just debuted as Clint.
You guys will see that in episode 15 once you start watching it. It's crazy.
Another producer, Sean Enmore, does a great job. He's the man behind the camera.
Okay.
He does all the cool graphics and the
Nice.
images. Shout out to Caesar, of course. Shout out to Emery Thomas Kenyon, who plays Jabril Anderson. He's basically the root of all this drama on this show.
A lot, yes.
So yeah, shout out to everybody, and thank you to everybody who continue to support Triangle and our movement, who like it, shares it, comment, hit me up on Facebook, Instagram. Thank you so much, because without you guys, we wouldn't be a success. So thank you.
And there you have it. Thanks for watching another episode of Richie on the Rocks. On the Rocks.
Hello. You're funny.